Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We are told almost every day that democracy is one of the Western civilization's values. And, it should be added mass democracy. That is, every biped in a society, dumb or smart, knowledgeable or ignorant, should be allowed to vote and express his or her opinion on something. Well, okay, that's why we are evolving in the way that we evolve. So we should support every democratic move in any country. But it seems like democracy is situational. So we, the Western countries, some of them, like democracy when the outcome is the one that they expect. We have here some territories that through referenda decided to join Russia. They decided because some tanks from the head office in Kiev were sent to get them back after they overthrew a government in 2014. Now, in 2014, the government of Viktor Yanukovych was a democratically elected government. So it was A-OK with the West. Well, it was toppled through a coup with some support from, and then it was recognized. The coup was, hey, it's okay, no problem, that's fine, even though they toppled a democratically elected government. Now, if that would happen in another country, let's say United States of America, obviously we would recognize it for what it is, coup d'etat, and then those people would be tried for treason if obviously that coup would be unsuccessful, like for instance in Turkey in 2016, organized by outsiders with the help of the insiders. Erdogan got them, snipped their balls, and they are where they are. Now, obviously, we were like, oh my God, about Turkey. But in Ukraine, the United States was A-OK with the outcome. The government in Kiev implemented some laws. These guys in the eastern Ukraine did not like that, including the fact that some guys took over a country in an undemocratic way. And then, you know what happened. Now, these territories in the eastern Ukraine, they voted, democracy, to be autonomous, to be outside of Kiev's control. Kiev sent tanks and all that. You know what happened then. And then these territories conducted referenda, voted will of the people, and they became independent. And then again, the vote of the people, referenda, they decided to join the country of the Russian Federation. The Western countries did not like democracy that way. Now it seems like the Russians continue bringing democracy in those areas, but the problem is, you see, these guys don't like it. Because they say, well, technicalities, those territories actually belong to Ukraine and should be given back and all that. Like Kosovo. If you remember, they are very, very good backers and supporters of Kosovo's independence in 2008 from Serbia. But hey, that's them doing things, which is okay. This is these guys doing things, that's not okay. Well, there are some details, obviously, but in general is the will of the people that we love. We love the will of the people. So let me give you some details provided by Ukrainska Pravda on the elections that will be organized within those occupied territories that now are part of Russia. So this article comes from today, June 15th, 2023. Russia organizes, quote-unquote, elections in occupied territories of Ukraine. Well, I'm glad the will of the people will be heard. Russia plans to hold, again, quote-unquote, elections in the occupied territories of Ukraine on 10 September. Okay, so details. According to Ella Pamfilova, the Russian Ministry of Defense and the FSB, and I'm quoting, consider it possible, end quote, to hold so-called elections in the occupied territories of 4 regions of Ukraine. The, and I'm quoting, election of deputies to legislative assemblies and representative bodies of municipalities, end quote, is scheduled for 10 September. a single voting day in Russia. The Commission's decision will be sent to Russian President Vladimir Putin. So, these guys are moving on with their democratic process in the newly, I don't want to say acquired, because acquired territories, because they were acquired by the will of the people. Referenda, we like it or not. As I always say, what can you do about it? Well, if you win in Ukraine, then you can do something about it. If you don't win in Ukraine, then it is what it is. I like the will of the people, but you see, we don't like when our guy loses. Then something happened, democracy doesn't run its course and all that. When our guy wins, everything was perfect. Or in this case, obviously some people say, well, what do you want? Democracy is great, right? The other guys, no, democracy is not great because the outcome is not the one that we wanted. After all, it's the will of the people, isn't it? Well, there are certain things, certain laws, there are certain technicalities. But which trumps which? Not Donald Trump. Which trumps which? The will of the people? Well, they should work within a system. I don't think you can work within the system regarding that thing here in the United States, for example, the pinnacle of democracy. That is, let's say you have a community of people and they decide to vote on something. Well, that's even to vote the law, to change the law. Let's say a state here wants something else. Do you think it's going to be allowed to want something else? Democratic vote? No. So, as I said, there's other interests more important than the democratic vote. Well, I'm glad over there at least that the Russians are allowed to express the Russians, because now they're part of the Russian Federation, they are Russians. They're allowed to express their opinion, and they will vote. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.